Hi guys. Sorry about the lighting. Anyway, let's get this over with. You cannot see me. Uh, anyway, I'm gonna be giving you a few. I'm gonna be giving you like a few roleplay suggestions, and this one it's about a girl who was killed mysteriously, and like this was just past of it. Like I said, I was um, there was this girl, and she died mysteriously, and she was buried. Like she wasn't buried; they didn't find her body, but and she was like 5. So okay, so one role play is actually about two brothers, and they were related by anything, including blood. And they were walking down the streets at almost midnight and decided to play a game to scare their friends in the graveyard, which they lived by. They in fact lived literally by the graveyard. It was literally right next to her in a way. So once they went to the graveyard with their friends, um they walked up to a little girl's gravestone as she was about to rise up from her tomb. And the brothers' friends were scared, and they split out of the graveyard and to their home in a matter of seconds. But the brothers stayed. One was the older brother, and the other one was the younger brother. Like the older was around 9 or 10, and the younger brother was around 7 or 8. Um anyway, let's see. Um they asked the girl if she was okay since she was crying blood, like literally crying blood down her cheeks. From her eyeballs all the way down to the chin. Can you imagine that, crying blood? Anyway, this is gonna be fast because my phone decides to be stupid sometimes. Anyway, she told him she was killed long ago by some psychopath killer and wanted revenge. But she couldn't remember who killed her, only that he was a psychopath killing all kids her age. Meaning all kids, which was all 5-year-olds. Anyway, so the two brothers gasped, and as their eyes widened in terror, but then growled in anger. And mind you, they were wolf pups, but they were part wolf, with a human form, like part wolf, part human or something. But they had a human form. Anyway, they growled in anger, now wanting to avenge the girl's death. But each time they'd ask her, each night, they visited her grave and asked her something, either whether it was about her death or it was about the psycho killer. She'd freak out and scream and then disappear into her tomb sobbing because she was tired and wanted nothing but revenge so she can sleep peacefully. And then one day, the two brothers and their family had to move because the parents didn't feel safe where they lived currently, which, in fact, as I told you, was near the graveyard. Say they technically lived next to her, in a way. Anyway, time passed for the brothers, and mind you, as the boys grew up, they managed to find the killer and killed him avenging her death, avenging the little girl's death, and all the other kids that he has taken lives from. Anyway, time passed for the brothers, and they were grown adults moving back to where they were born and back to their old house, like near the graveyard. They visited the girl's grave, and once she saw them, she smiled as blood tears streamed down her ghostly pale cheeks. Descriptive. As the boys had grown up, they eventually avenged the girl's death, as I said. But then she thanked them. After she thanked them, she screamed and attacked them, giving them scars on, part of their shoulder blade. The older one was on, the back of the shoulder blade, and the other was from the right shoulder blade all the way down to the back, the middle of his back. And that's how she marks her family or friends. Just putting that out there. If you put them together, it's like an X. X marks a spot. And, but that's all I can think of right now. So if you guys want to turn that into a role play, go ahead and get creative and, maybe give her a name, and, do whatever you want. It's yours, and this is literally up for grabs. And the second one, I'm going to be, the second one, actually, is about two boys. Again, they're all about the two brothers. Except this time, they're not really related by blood, but they grew up together, and they grew up orphans. They grew up together as orphans. And they're twins. They hang out so much that people mistake them as twins. Anyway, the two twins, they had to move in a city, which is they're not their favorite. They did not like cities. And their parents made them move to that city because their grades were the grades were really high, but the parents didn't like their grades because it was either a B or an A minus, and they wanted their wolf pups. Again, they're wolf pups. They're part human, part wolf, with little ears and tail. Anyway, you can make up the species of the wolf, I don't care. Or the type of wolf. Anyway, so the parents did not like their, report cards. They did not like their grades because it was a B or an A minus. They wanted their wolf pups to have straight A's, A pluses or A plus plus or whatever you call it. And they wanted their grades to be so high, they would eventually have to transfer to a college because they're so smart. And they want their kids to be so smart and better. Yeah, really bad. But then, once after that, they ran away, and their parents eventually died of old age, and they grew up together orphans. They grew up together on the streets, and they managed to get themselves back up again from the gutter all the way up to the top of the ladder. Funny how orphans are usually smarter than the spoiled rich kids, huh? Anyway, I said spoiled rich kids, not the normal kids. Not normal kids who have yeah, never mind. I'm getting off track. Anyway, so the two boys, were walking down the street, and they spotted, like, it was almost midnight, and spotted um they spotted a 9-year-old boy, which they were like 10 and 11, and they spotted a 9-year-old little boy on, like, swinging on the swings and sobbing. But they didn't know what was in store for them. So the little boy, that the two brothers slash friends found, he looked up, and his eyes were sunken in, and his eyes were white, like his pupils. Yeah. Anyway, he kind of looked like a demon kind of thing. Yeah. But that's all I can think of. My brain is fuzzy right now. And besides, I couldn't get so creative that I created a whole roleplay story. So I'm leaving the rest blank for you guys to fill in and make this your own. Like I said, it's up for grabs, just like the other roleplay. Third, it's about twins this time. Twins. Well, not exactly twins, but they lived in a jungle, okay? Well, not a jungle, but dang it. Yeah. They usually live where wolves live, technically, like, everywhere. Anyway, the breed of wolf you can figure out. I don't care which. It's yours to make. Anyway, it's about two wolf pups. Like I said, it's kind of like the other stories. They're full wolf, but they have a human form because they're like magic. They have some magic in them, but they don't know that because they're still wolf pups. And they're still growing, and then once they grow, the magic grows with them, making them all powerful alphas in the future. If they desire that. If they don't desire to be the future alpha, the future alpha male, then that is their choice. If they wish to be, again, their choice. Anyway, they grew up alone in wherever you think of, like, in a magical forest. Let's say they grew up in a magical forest on their own. And they decided, when they grew up, they'd make a pack of their own, where, both of them, like, they would technically both be alphas and, like, being brothers and all. And I'm not saying, like, all that kind of stuff, but you get the idea. They're both brothers, they both made the pack together, and they're both the leader of the pack. And while one brother is away, the other is in charge. Meaning he's like the first in command kind of thing. He's not the beta. He's kind of like, let's say he's like a little brother of the older wolf. And once the older brother wolf is away doing something, I guess, the little brother is in charge. And if the pack does not listen to the wolf and to the little brother wolf, the little brother wolf, if they do not listen to him, he has the right to do with them himself and explain what has happened and why he did what happened. Explained what happened, something like that. And I don't know. I don't have, like I said, I don't have much of a creative mind. Anyway, Nat. Anyway. But that's all I can come up with. Like I said, I have a fuzzy mind. Like, my brain is fuzzy a lot, and I don't have that much of a creative mind. And yes, I made it as wolves because, I made it with wolves because I love wolves so much. It's like my spirit animal. The wolf is my spirit animal. Well, the shadow wolf is. Anyway. Well, that's all I can come up with for now. I'm going to read you a story, which is called Carmen Winstead. It's a story. It's like an urban legend story thing. I don't know. Carmen Winstead was 17 years old when her parents decided to move to Indiana. Her father had lost his job, and the only way he could find new employment was by moving to a new state. The relocation caused a lot of problems for Carmen. She had to leave her friends behind and attend a whole new school in Indiana. Carmen had a hard time making friends when she changed schools. It was the middle of the school year, and most of the students had no interest in befriending the new girl. Initially, she spent many days alone, walking from class to class without speaking to anyone. But she eventually started hanging around with a group of 5 other girls. Carmen thought these girls were her friends, but it wasn't long before she discovered that they had been talking about her behind her back and spreading vile rumors. When she confronted them, the girls turned on her and began bullying her every day, making her life a misery. They started out calling her names, but then the bullying got much worse. One day, she left her school books in the classroom at break time. When she returned, she found someone had taken a Sharpie and written dirty words all over her books. Another day, she opened her bag and discovered someone had poured yogurt all over the insides. Sometimes she would come to school and find her locker had been vandalized. The final straw came when she put her coat at recess. She put on her coat at recess and found that someone had stuffed a dog poop in her pockets. There and then, Carmen decided that she couldn't take the bullying any longer. She planned to stay behind that evening after school and tell her teacher what had been happening. Unfortunately, her decision came too late to save her life. After lunch, her teacher announced that the school was holding a fire drill. When the alarm sounded, Carmen and the other students filed out of the classroom and assembled in the yard outside. As the teachers read out the roll call, the gang of 5 girls decided that this was a great opportunity to embarrass Carmen in front of the whole school during the fire drill. They moved over to where Carmen was standing near a sewer drain and began crowding the poor girl, getting in her face and nudging her towards the open manhole. They pushed her, and she tripped and fell head first into the manhole. Like, down the manhole, I mean. When they saw her falling, the girls started giggling, and when Carmen's name was called out, they shouted, "She's in the sewer!" All of the other students began laughing, but when the teachers looked down the manhole, and saw Carmen's body lying at the bottom in the muck and the poop. and the poop. The laughter abruptly stopped. Her head was twisted around at an odd angle, and her face was covered in blood. Worse still, she wasn't moving. There was nothing any of the teachers could do for her. Carmen was dead. When the police arrived and went down into the sewer, they determined that she had broken her neck. Her face had been torn off when she hit the ladder on the way down, and her neck snapped when she landed on her head on the concrete at the bottom. The police hauled Carmen's body out of the sewer and sent her to the mortuary. I can't say it. Sorry. Everyone had to stay behind after school while the police questioned all of Carmen's classmates. The 5 girls lied to the police, saying they witnessed Carmen falling down the sewer. The police believed the girls, and Carmen Winstead's death was ruled an accident, and the case was closed. Everyone thought that was the last they would hear of Carmen Winstead, but they were wrong. Months later, Carmen's classmates began receiving strange emails on their MySpaces. The emails were titled, "They Pushed Her." The emails were also... They pushed her and claimed that Carmen hadn't really fallen down the sewer. She had been pushed. The emails also warned that the guilty people should own up and take responsibility for their crime. If they didn't, there would be horrible consequences. Most people dismissed the emails as a hoax, but others were not so sure. A few days later, one of the girls who pushed Carmen down the sewer was at home taking a shower when she heard a strange, cackling laugh. It seemed to be coming from the drain. The girl started to freak out and ran out of the bathroom. That night, the girl said goodnight to her mom and went to sleep. 5 hours later, her mom was awoken in the middle of the night by a loud noise that resounded throughout the house. She ran into her daughter's room only to find it empty. There was no trace of the girl. The worried mother called the police, and when they arrived, they conducted a search of the area. Eventually, they discovered the girl's grisly remains. Her corpse was lying in the sewer, covered in muck and poop. Her neck was broken, and her face was missing. It had been completely torn off. One by one, all of the girls who pushed Carmen that day were found dead. They had all been killed exactly in the same way and were all found at exactly the same spot. In the sewer at the bottom of the same uncovered manhole where Carmen had met her doom. But the killing did not stop there. More and more of Carmen's former classmates were found dead. It seemed that anyone who didn't believe that Carmen had been pushed was eventually found down in the sewer with their necks broken and their faces torn off. They say Carmen's ghost is still on the rampage, hunting down anyone who doesn't believe her story. According to the legend, Carmen will get you, whether it's from a toilet, a shower, a sink, or a drain. When you go to sleep, you'll wake up in the sewer, in complete darkness, paralyzed, unable to move, hearing a cackling and hearing cackling laughter all around you. And then, as you scream in horror, the Carmen will come and tear your face off. So be careful who you bully, because you might just find yourself on the receiving end of the curse of Carmen Winstead. So that's it, guys. That's the story of Carmen Winstead. And if any of you know, like, it actually kind of creeped me out the first time, but it's great for Halloween stories. I might just tell it again. Well, anyway, that's all for tonight, or today. That's all for today, guys. And remember, wait, I almost forgot. Shout out to Artisan Craft Glitch Tree Films. And every video, I'm gonna give them a shout out so they can receive support from you guys, from the Shadow Pack itself, and just be a part of the whole wolf pack, be a part of the Shadow Pack, be a part of the Artisan Craft wolf pack. Whatever wolf pack you decide to join, you will always be remembered as part of us. If you decide to be part of the Artisan Craft wolf pack, you will always be remembered as a shadow wolf member as well, part of my shadow pack as well. And if you decide to be part of my wolf pack, the Shadow Pack, then you will always be remembered as part of the Artisan Craft wolf pack. You will be part of them and part of us. There is no difference between us. We stand together, we stay together, and we support one another all the time. So that's it for now. And don't forget, have a horrific Halloween! And remember, no bullying, or you will be receiving the curse of Carmen Winstead. So behave, and happy horrific Halloween! Bye!